Hello, everyone. What a week this has been in regards to the woking of America. Before I get to the Bible and the end times, I have to alert you to two things you may not be aware of in our woke society. First, the United States House of Representatives interrogated Christopher Wray, FBI director, on January 12th in regards to the workings of the FBI. I sat mesmerized by his lack of cooperation. Not that that's new, because it isn't. But every Christian should be aware that it appears we all, but especially Catholics, are being investigated by the FBI. A memo discussed at the hearing outlined an FBI operation that placed spies in Catholic churches to gather information. As Congressman Jim Jordan said, quote, "This should scare every American." The FBI calls pro-life people radicals and arrested a father at gunpoint who, with his son, did nothing more than pray at an abortion clinic. That man eventually went to trial, but was acquitted. Also keep in mind that parents who complain at school board meetings were called terrorists. What is the real purpose of all of this? To intimidate those of us who support God and the Bible, and to put an end to religious freedom standing in the way of a liberal agenda. This is sadly an incredible reminder to me of Nazi Germany. Who did the Nazis first put into concentration camps? Pastors. Second event of the week, the NEA, a national teachers union with over 3 million members found in all 50 states, met in Orlando, Florida, July 2nd through the 6th. The convention was reported on by Libby Edmond of PM. With the backing of Joe Biden, the NEA launched a national LGBTQ indoctrination initiative that will cost taxpayers, are you ready? $583,400. Among many scary things at the convention, they encouraged members to ignore Florida's Parental Rights in Education bill, and they continue to keep students' gender identities secret from parents. This union receives $400 million in annual revenue, and 97% of their political support goes to the Democrats. They pushed Drag Queen Story Hour to encourage little children to, quote, live queerly, end quote. Let me be very clear. As Christians, we are required to love all people. But we don't have to support anything anti the Bible. As a retired high school teacher, I, who saw the union as a bully pulpit 20 years ago, am sick at how much worse things have gotten in education now. My children would absolutely not attend public schools today, and I'm terribly sorry to say that. Now, back to Nazi Germany. What did the Nazis do besides put pastors in concentration camps to get their way? They forced children to attend Nazi indoctrination programs. Does all this say, welcome to Nazi America? I sure hope not. But it may. With all of this happening in our country, I have to believe we are definitely in the end times. So let's continue our study of that in the words of Paul, beginning in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. In verses 51 and 52, Paul says, quote, I tell you a mystery. We will not all sleep, but we will all be changed in a flash, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. The dead will be raised, and we will be changed. End quote. These are such important verses. First, Paul calls death sleep. That is actually true for all people, not just Christians, because eventually all will rise and live forever. The question, though, is where will each person live? With God or in hell? Also, in these verses is the concept of the rapture. While Paul says the dead will rise, he also states we will all be changed, referring to those who are alive at the last trumpet. Now, please turn to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 17, which absolutely confirms the Corinthians verses. It says, quote, we who are still alive and left will be caught up with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so we will be with the Lord forever, end quote. That is the rapture. But who is the them referred to in this verse? Go back to verse 14 of chapter 4, where we read, God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him. In other words, everyone now in heaven will come with Jesus to meet in the air those of us who are raptured. What an incredible reunion that will be. Question: will everyone on earth see Jesus at this time? No. This is not the second coming. It is simply the gathering of the Christian army to fight the battle of Armageddon on the plains of Megiddo in Israel. When that army is in place, Jesus will place his feet on the Mount of Olives, and the whole world will see him. We Christians will be there for this glorious moment. That, then, is the second coming. So, let's go back all the way to Matthew chapter 24, verse 40 and 41, where Jesus says, 2 men will be in the field. One will be taken, and one will be left. 2 women will be grinding with a handmill. One will be taken, and one will be left. This is our first biblical indication of the rapture. Now the question on the minds of many may be, when will this rapture occur? Before the tribulation? During the middle of the tribulation? Or at the end of the tribulation? Most Bible scholars and pastors believe it will occur before the tribulation. I, of course, think that's very possible. But because of one verse, I wonder if it could also occur in the middle of the tribulation. Matthew chapter 24, verse 22 says, quote, for the sake of the elect, those days will be shortened, end quote. Does that shortening refer to the elect who are saved in the tribulation? Because they will be. Or does it refer to us? I'm not sure. So I'm leaving that up to the Lord. But I'm open to a mid-trib rapture. Thanks for listening. Next week, I will finish the words of Paul, and we'll also hear from other biblical writers about the end times before we delve into my favorite book, Revelation. Have a blessed week, but keep watch. Our nation is, I believe, on a very ungodly path, and we Christians are required to rise above and speak against it. I'll talk more about that next week. See you Thursday.